Good morning, everybody. For the time has come. We're going to lower this thing. It may not look like it needs lowered, and the wife doesn't think it needs lowered, but that's not acceptable. So we're going to change that today. Over here, we have springs and a muffler that we may get to or may not get to. But right now, the debate is whether we're going to do the front end or the rear end first. Evan wants to do the front end because it's harder. I want to do the rear end because it's easier. So whenever we figure that out, we will get back. Alright, so we decided to do the back first. Wow, if I could breathe, that'd be fantastic. I got one spring out the same way I got the Vic out with this pry bar right here. Not on film. So I'm going to hand the phone to Evan. Yeah. And let him do that. Well, I try and get the dangerous. Yeah.
Doing.
Spring out.
Alright, so Doyle's being a dick. I'm gonna do a spring I can't talk either. Comparison. There we go. Looks like about a ½ inch height difference when they're just sitting open. Factory on the left, of course. But they're about the same otherwise. And it's gonna look a little lower. 2 inches, I think, is what the box was saying, or whatever. Jeez.
What he's fighting with is there's a knob in the top of this right there. You got to push the spring over and it's got to be like folded and compressed a little bit. That's what he's working on.
Like that.
Like that. And then he's just going to go through and final set it, and then we will figure out how to drop it. And these rubber isolators that are on top and the bottom can be a little bit of a pain.
Yeah, like that one.
Like that one. Yeah, exactly like that. So we'll get that figured out. We'll go Alright, we got the rear springs installed, and we're ready for Evan to drop this thing and see what it finally looks like. Boom. Oh yeah, she's definitely squatted.
Oh yeah, I can like...
That's much better. It's not all of it, but it's much better. They're stiff.
I'm gonna take the e-brake off, that'll help. Oh, big difference.
They're stiff, so that's good. Yeah. Alright, so the plan now is Evan's going to flip this around, and we're each going to take a side and pull the struts out and see how that goes, and I'm going to set you guys up on time-lapse for that part. So, get back Evan went ahead and helped me get the crank bolts out. Avicii is playing in the background. YouTube, if you want to demonetize me for that, fucking go for it, man. But everybody asks why I always go through motors. That's why. Because if it would have started at all and not just snapped this on start, it wasn't going to make it very far. So there's that project until I get the timing set, which will be here soon, hopefully. And then we are headed back to work on Scion some more. And gents, we got them out. One's here, one's over there on the ground, so we don't mix them up on which side they are.
Perfect.
Almost exactly the same.
Well, this has still got some pressure on it from the top end of this thing.
So what we're probably gonna do is take a cutoff wheel and just knock them. So that's the next plan, and I'll drag an extension cord out here so you guys can see that too. So give me a second, we'll get to that. Alright, so he's got one over here on the ground, and I pulled out the grinder for him. And we're gonna see him do some sketchy shit. Maybe I'll take over and do the other side and do some sketchy shit. I'm gonna do some sketchy shit. I hope I get away with it.
Let's see, which one I want to do? Which one do you want to do?
Same shit.
He's up here. Sure it ain't gonna roll anywhere. Maybe. Let's see, probably right about in there. Right there might be even better. Works going that way. Sketchy. Ooh, sketchy. We might need to do that again.
Yeah, cut it right there.
There?
Yep.
Hold on.
Go get a hammer.
That's all that needs to happen. That needs to just keep breaking more. You still guy.
There she is.
Sketchy shit. Look at the difference. How far that was off. That's 2 inches.
With the old spring loaded is about where this one is unloaded.
Which makes installation a breeze.
Yes, sir. So we're gonna get this apart. We'll get this on here, and we'll show you what it looks like. And with a decent amount of work and a lot of sketchy shit going on with some C-clamps that we're not gonna talk about, we have one done. So we learned a couple lessons doing this one. We're gonna pop the top bolt loose before we cut it, and then cut it, and then it should be a whole lot simpler. We've got to figure out how to get the springs back on there. Kind of sketchy, but we make it work. So we're gonna get this one back in, work on getting that one apart, and we'll catch you. It's about what kind of sketchy stuff? Spring compress. But we're good now. So we're gonna work on getting these installed. Just like that. Got yourself a lowered Scion. Wheel gap looks much better. He is going to get some spacers. We're debating on front spacers, because it doesn't really need that much, but it needs some, so it's kind of a debate. And then the back we're definitely going to have to get spacers for. But the front, we could do something like this. But the problem with these, big fucking problem with these, is it eats up a lot of your thread engagement. So you're left with like nothing. So this is what it needs, but this is not safe.
Nor is it what it's getting.
Yeah.
Period.
So we'll have to figure something out for the front end. But
Inch for the front, inch and a half for the back. I'm thinking.
well, there she is. She's lowered. So he's got to go take her around the yard and bring her back so we can torque the wheels. But other than that, we're done with this project. Lowered toaster, toy box. What other names they got for these things?
I don't know. Some people call them hamster cars, but that's wrong because that's a soul, I think.
The wife calls it a hamster car, just so you know.
Yeah, I know.
I went inside to take a break and dab. And I felt like I was gone for only 5 minutes, and I told Mr. Evan that he was welcome to come join me. And he did not, because he was out here cutting the exhaust off of his Scion. So he's got it cut clear back to there. He's got some kind of plan formulated where this pipe is in between it. Something like this or backwards.
Other way, yeah.
Like that.
Something like that.
So now we're going to go get a piece of pipe that slides over this one and slides over the other side. We'll probably drill some holes in it and like tack it just to make sure it's good. And then we got to connect that to his new shiny muffler.
Which is going to be like this kind of difference.
Something like that. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. But he says he hasn't started it yet. So.
But first.
Yeah. Fancy. I like it sticking out a little bit.
I'm thinking like that even.
No, just the blue part.
A little more than the blue so you can see some color change.
I like it. I like it a lot. It'll look good. Yeah. This was up for debate on whether it was going to happen, and I guess the discussion turned to decision.
Yeah.
All right, man. This is why I love Evan to death.
See what this thing sounds like with no muffler on the back.
It sounds like the first Fast and the Furious, and I don't know if that's a compliment or talking shit.
I'll take it as a good thing.
Alright, guys. We will catch up with you in a few when we figure out, or I figure out what the hell he's got going on out here. Guys, sorry I didn't get to film most of that process. I haven't even got to see it yet, because I had to go to Ace Hardware and U-Haul to get stuff for the pond. And you guys will see that video coming up at some point. He clamped it down there and then welded it, and then welded it, and then welded it, welded it, and tied it up with a wire. I think that's a pretty good job. At least minimum what I would have done. And it gives it, sticks it out quite a bit. He says it sticks it out too far, but I kind of like the look of it. And overall, she just looks a whole bunch lower and more proper. I mean, from this side where you can't see the wheels being sunk in, looks great. Works perfect. He's going to come out here in a second and start it, and we'll see how it sounds. And then we will get this video posted for y'all. Baby Bristol says, I'm coming with Dad. You're not leaving me inside. It ain't happening. It's perfectly fine. She's a sweetheart. On you. Hell yeah. That's what's up. Last but not least, to finish the day off, we're going to discuss this guy. I told them that this was my motor, and I pulled it apart, and it looked like that. And I already had it out. I was already this far down. I would just go ahead and do head gaskets, because you just got to pull the intake and pull this crossover, and then you pull the heads off, and you're done. If they're flat, and they go back on. On top of that, they bought an entire master engine gasket set. So from top to bottom, I'm going to reseal this thing. I don't know about the rest of the van as far as its condition goes, but this thing will be dead ass on point when it's ready to go in. So, I'm going to wait on some parts for that. I'm probably going to comp them the labor to pull the heads off to try and alleviate some of their stress. But other than that, it's got to go back together the right way. So, they are listening to me and it's being done my way. I'm not worried about the money. I'm worried about my customer getting it right. I'd rather the customer come back to me and bring me more money than me taking their money one time. So that's why I'm not playing this game, because they could very easily put this motor in with no timing set. That belt breaks. We're back here doing this again. I put a timing set in it. It pops the head gasket. We're back here doing this again, etc., 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 etc. Fuck that. Just gonna do it right one time. We're gonna put a pretty much brand new, refreshed, resealed motor in that van. And that is exactly what I did with the 460 out of the Crown Vic. So pulled it out of a motorhome and we resealed it top to bottom and put an eBay HEI distributor on it and a really nice ignition control module and a phenolic resin spacer. And that's pretty much it. That's just a motorhome motor. So we're going to take it from what it looks like in the garage to a whole lot better like this. But I don't think they're going to want me to paint it, which is fine. I don't want to paint it. But I will go ahead and bring the valve covers in and wash them free of charge. I ain't got to worry about it. It's just for me, because then I ain't got to mess with dirty stuff when it goes back in. But either way, I'm going to go inside and try and enjoy my night. And I will catch you guys tomorrow for the pond build. And if not tomorrow, it will definitely be this week. I have half the materials in the garage already. And I gotta go get more, but we are definitely getting to it. So have a good night and God bless. See y'all later.